Thank you for joining Dr. Andrew Gardner for Your Health and You. This program will challenge you to live a healthy lifestyle from God's Word and the best health practices. Call your friends and family members together for the program, Your Health and You. And now, here is your host, Dr. Andrew Gardner. Be blessed as you listen.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our program this afternoon. Let me apologize for the late start this afternoon, but we're here and we're going to go straight ahead. We want to welcome each of our friends here in Radio Lands, those of us in Antigua Barbuda, those in St. Kitts Nevis, Montserrat, and those of you who are in US of A, in Maryland. Want to welcome you, those in UK, and also want to welcome those in Florida who are listening. Yes, we have folks in Florida. We have folks in New York, New Jersey. Yes, they're locked in. Yes, we want to thank you for listening. And we also have folks in Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, and Grenada. Yes, we want to thank all our listeners there in those islands for tuning to Second Amendment Radio. We trust and pray that as you join us today, that you'll be blessed as we go into our broadcast for today. Also, we want to welcome my co-host, Sister Sinead Hughes, as she's here with us again today. So welcome, Sister Hughes, to our program this afternoon. We hope that we'll have a good time as we continue our study on developing a healthy lifestyle, and we want folks to recognize that we will be emphasizing certain points all the time because we want you to be aware that what we're bringing to you is what we need to bring at this point in time for your edification and for your well-being. So call a friend, stop by and maybe have some popcorn, some water. Yes, I said water, not juice, some popcorn and some water. And you can just call a friend listening. You can join us on YouTube channel or online portal, or you can listen to us at Second Avenue Radio 101.5 on your FM dial, and be sure to be blessed as we go forward. Before we continue, we're going to pray as we ask God to meet us. Loving Lord, we say thank you for having kept us today. You have kept us all week, and you have brought us again this evening to another broadcast. We pray that you will guide us as we go through, and may your Holy Spirit be pleased to be in the midst. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So we're looking at the lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, and then we want to remind folks of our key texts. You remember our key text, Sister Hughes? In
yes. Psalms 139.
Yeah, verse 14. I'll praise you, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made,
and this I know.
Soul know it quite well.
Yes.
Right, so that is our key text. We want folks to recognize that Psalms 139 verse 14. We want you to keep that in mind and to recognize that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And there's sometimes I like to expand on this text, Sister Hughes, because it says something about us, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. You want to comment a little bit on the fearfully and wonderfully made so our audience can understand what we're talking about?
Yes, when we say fearful, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. Missed having being on the air last week, and happy to be here this week. In terms of being fearfully and wonderfully made, it's some persons might say, why do you use the term fearfully? Why does the Bible use the term fearfully? It's not fear in the negative sense. It's that it's like you're in awe.
Right.
Like, this is what God can do. God can create a whole person, and we're wonderfully made, meaning we're supposed to be wholesome in our composition, wholesome in our mental health or physical health, what we put into our body, even the things we let into our mind, our mental space. And so I think the fearfully and wonderfully made has to do with the awesomeness and the perfection that God created us in.
That's right. That's a good point. And so we want folks to understand that when we talk about the fearfully and wonderfully made, we're talking about a great God who does something special. He doesn't just make us like robots. He makes us with intelligence. He makes us healthy. He makes us to be folks who can worship Him. He wants us to be in the best of health. And that's where we want to emphasize developing a healthy lifestyle. Now, since we left off last week as we talked about certain things that we need to do, and we look at diet, and we're now looking a little bit at physical activities, right? And we recognize that in order for you to be in the best of health, you must have some form of physical activity. And we enumerate quite a bit of it last week, like you walk, cycling, swimming,
yes.
right, running, and also gardening. I mean, a lot of people don't know, but gardening does something to you. It elevates, it gives you the satisfaction. You know, I'm so joyful that every morning, whether it's wet or dry, I can just walk out in my garden and pick a fruit. Right now, picking sugar apple and some plum, and also spinach and other stuff, even some sugar cane, you know, and some golden apple, you know. And strange enough, you know, it gives you a very good feeling when you're able to pick something.
And I guess with your mental health too, when
Right.
you see you plant, especially from seedling, and you're seeing it come into a fruit that you
Right.
can actually share, or you can actually use. So I guess it's a part of therapy too.
Right.
Yeah, it's therapeutic.
Right. So, but anyhow, we need to be active because too many folks have what called a sedentary lifestyle. And they like to sit around the TV, especially, and they like to eat a lot of fatty stuff. It's like they crave for the microwave popcorn, that laden of the grease and salt, and also they crave for the popcorn. Sometimes you see they have a big bag, a big bowl of popcorn, and a big bottle of soda there on the side, and with the remote in the hand, so they're not even getting up, not even for a bathroom break.
Right.
Right, and so these people are putting in a lot of stuff in the system, and they're not letting it out. And you must put it in, but you must also let it out. And that's the challenge we have with a lot of folks. Even folks who are diabetic, they need to understand that those are type 2. Right? Those are type 2. This is just a plug. We're not really talking about diabetes today, but this is just a plug for folks who are diabetics and you're on insulin. Right? You don't have to be on insulin forever and ever. Amen.
Pastor Gardner, can you, just for the folks, our audience, differentiate or explain the two types of, because they're hearing you talk about type 2 and type 1. Can you just, before we move on?
Type 2 diabetes is what we call insulin-resistant diabetes or adult onset diabetes, which you develop this as an adult when you reach adulthood. And it's basically based on your lifestyle, your dietary choices, your lifestyle. Right. And then you have type 1, which is juvenile diabetes or diabetes that you capture when you were young or it came as a result of genetic pass on from your parents. Now the difference is that type 1, they need insulin to live, to survive. They cannot do without the insulin because the body is not producing the required amount of insulin, either because the pancreas which produces insulin has a problem, or it producing little or less no insulin at all, or they are born with some issue that causes them not to be able to. So they now need the insulin every day just to survive. They can't live without it. On the other hand now, 95%, this is very key, 95% of all diabetes now is type 2. Only 5% are those who require insulin. Now you may ask the question, why is it they have insulin? Because the body is producing insulin, but because of the foods they're eating, high fat, high sugar, you find that the body is not able to properly regulate the sugar. Now when you eat, the sugar content goes up, but then after a few hours it's supposed to come back down.
With the help of the insulin.
Right. But the insulin is there, like it's waiting to be dispatched, but the cells or the receptors are not opening up for it. So you have to get secondary insulin now, where you get insulin from outside source, where it's either oral or injectable. Right. And then what happens is that the doctor may say to you, well, when you take the insulin now, you got to eat on the regular. Because of the fact that after a while now, somehow, by just exercising or walking, your body now start to not only produce but able to utilize its insulin. So that now what you have now, you have more insulin in the body than what you actually can manage. And so sometimes if you don't have something like maybe some drink or a sweet fruit or something, when you start to feel kind of lethargy, lightheaded and so on, you're going into what I call hypoglycemic shock, where your insulin level is so low. Or no, the insulin level is high, there's a spike in insulin, so your sugar level drops below where it should be.
Okay.
And so if you're not getting something like some sweets, a drink, or something, have a crackers, that's why I say those who are diabetic type 2 always have to walk with something in the bag to eat.
Okay.
Especially if they're on insulin, because the sugar level is going to drop because there's a spike in insulin. Now, to prevent this spike in insulin now is to watch what you eat and also to exercise. Now, the exercise is going to cause those cells that seem to be open to close, or receptors now, to open up. So the walking helps those who are diabetics now to produce the insulin that the body needs. Right?
Okay.
Right. And so that's why I say we're going to go along that path for a minute, just to explain to show that the necessity of walking, right? The necessity of having some physical activity. Now, if you cannot walk, but you can do little gardening, or you like flowers, you can tend to the flowers, or even if you don't want to go any place, just walk in around the yard. If you have enough yard space, just walk in the yard and just sweat it out a bit, and that will help to increase the absorption of the insulin. Remember, see, the absorption, the insulin is there already.
Right.
Now, for some type 2, because you may develop a problem with the pancreas, you may have pancreatitis or pancreatic cancer or inflammation of the pancreas, that could cause a slowdown or lack of production of the insulin. Right? And sometimes you have to be on medication to correct certain things. Now, I want people to understand that when you reach a certain stage in your health, you have 3 stages: the primary, the secondary, tertiary. Now, more often than not, when you get to the secondary stage, it means that there's a combination of yourself and the doctor that works to get you back to the primary level. Because your goal is to be in the primary level. But then when you move from this secondary now to the tertiary now, at the tertiary level now, you're basically on the doctor's watch. Right? You're on the doctor's watch, which means therefore whatever the doctor is going to give you now is supposed to aid in bringing back what we call a balance. Right? You're out of balance, so the doctor needs now to get your body to correct what has gone wrong, so that at some point in time you should move from the tertiary back to secondary, and then hopefully back to tertiary, to the primary. But more often than that, we seem to be stuck between the secondary and the tertiary.
Yes.
Because we become dependent on the doctor for everything. Now, the doctor has his place. I want people to understand that the doctor has his place. Medicine has its place. But it's not every time that there's a situation that medicine is the answer.
As you always said, our food should be our medicine.
Right.
Along with a healthy lifestyle.
Right. Now, we have some situations where we do not exercise enough, but yes, we consume a lot of fat, hydrogenated fat. Now, hydrogenated fat are oils that have hydrogen in it, right? And this kind of fat helps to create a problem for the heart. So you have to reduce the amount of hydrogenated fat. So you need to have unhydrogenated fat. Now, I often say to folks on the broadcast and when they talk about fat, is that there are 2 types of fat. The hydrogenated fat solidifies at room temperature.
Okay.
Right? The unsaturated fat now are fats that are basically, and you have trans fat, fats that can be transferred, they're transferable, just a simple term, right? Because you're getting it from the food you eat. And some of the things that, some of the culprits they talk about fat is a lot of chips, those snacks, and certain foods that you buy in the supermarket. That's why it's important for folks to read labels.
Okay.
To see what kind of fat is there. Now, the best fat is the cold press, right? Those fats that are naturally produced. Now, the hydrogenated fat is fat that not only does it contain hydrogen, but also it's fat that is heated. Because what now? it heats it so it expand.
Okay.
So when it expand now, if the cold press oil is about a pint of oil, that's not enough for you to turn over and to make a profit. So what you do now, you take that point of oil that was cold pressed now, and then you send it to a process of heating it and adding the hydrogen to it now, so that it not only expands, but it becomes twice as much as what you will have, right? But then when it gets cool now, it solidifies because the enzyme and the health benefits to the oil is lost through the process of heating it.
So some examples of hydrogenated would be things like lard,
Right.
shortening,
Those solid, those
butter,
solid stuff.
those.
Right.
Okay. And on the non-hydrogenated would be like from olives and
Right.
avocado and
palm
those
oil
things.
and those kind of oils.
So we
yeah.
should lean towards those,
Right.
the non-hydrogenated.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. So that you
Yes.
have the good cholesterol, you have the LDL, the bad one, and the other one. So you want to make sure that you are having the healthy cholesterol. And that brings me to another point where we need to limit the amount of animal fat, animal product that you consume.
Yes, I was just going to ask you, where does animal fats fall in this? Because people are going to be asking, one argument against the plant-based is, although they would say, well, Dr. Gardner, I want to consume the plant-based fats, but olive oil is more expensive than the other oil. You've heard that before, right?
Yes, I heard it before.
And of course, we know olive oil is much more healthier.
And you don't
Yeah.
cook olive oil. You don't cook with it. A lot of
Right.
people cook, but you don't cook.
You're
Some
not
people
supposed
fry with
to.
it
Yes.
because heating olive oil destroy the enzyme in olive oil. Simple as that.
That point, a lot of persons didn't know.
Right. So
that.
if I'm going to use olive oil in anything, if I'm
Salad,
going to
vinaigrettes and those things.
I may saute some vegetables,
Right.
and then when it is finished cooking, and I lock up the stove, then I put some olive oil on it, and cover it and let it stay there. Same thing if I boil a pot of rice, like brown rice or any kind of rice I boil. When it is finished, how I cook it is that I allow the water to boil, then I put in my onions, cut the onion in it, and then salt to taste, and then when it's dry, I lock up the stove, then I wait a few minutes and I put some olive oil. You know they have some kind of holes all around. When it dry, you see some holes
Yes.
where you just do that and just let it. You didn't even have to stir it.
Oh, okay.
You just let it sit down, let it stays there. It would not do anything. It would not destroy the enzyme because you're not cooking it.
So when you're preparing things like popcorn, because I've known of some persons preparing popcorn with olive oil, is that advisable?
No.
No.
No, you do not, because
Because they say gives it a lighter.
popcorn takes a lot of heat,
Yes.
and when you heat olive oil, it actually burns.
It actually burns quicker because you
Right.
see, yes, that's true.
Right. Some folks even use coconut oil to fry stuff with.
Well, yes.
Right.
Is coconut oil a bit,
The coconut oil is preferred. If you're going to use an oil, use coconut oil because
Yes.
coconut is a natural oil, and it's not heat process, right? It's not heat process. But then again, you got to make sure that you do not consume too much of the stuff. Now, when we talk about limit the animal fat, because the animal fat is a bad fat to have in the body. Simply, it's a bad fat. There's no other way to put it. It's a bad fat.
it's bad.
And then it tends to clog up the arteries faster than anything else. So you want to limit. I'm not saying you cannot, but you limit your intake of it. As much as you can avoid it,
Yes.
do that. And get back to the plant-based. Now, yes, a lot of folks may say the olive oil expensive. It's going to be expensive if you use it the wrong way.
Because you're going to be using it too often
Not
for
only that.
unnecessary things.
Right.
And,
And you can put it in the salad.
right.
Right? You can put olive oil in the salad as well. Like you have your cucumber, your lettuce, and everything there. You put some olive oil in it and your olives and so on. Or you can even buy the olives in a can. Okay, we like to get olives in a can,
Yes.
the black ones there, and we just put it there and stir it up, and then you have a nice salad there, right? And so sometimes you can use the olive oil instead of the salad dressing they have out there, or you can make your own salad dressing.
With the olive oil, yes, like a vinaigrette or
Right.
those.
You know, and so forth. So you can do things that are not expensive, or maybe upfront it might be a little expensive, but if you know how to use it, you don't have to use a lot. So a good size olive oil that may cost me about maybe $70. A good size maybe half gallon or maybe a gallon, right? And that could last you for a while because what? You don't have to use too much of it. But the other oils that you have, like the sweet oil, we call sweet oil, corn oil, palm oil, those other kind of oils now, these are heat processed oil.
Right.
Right, the heat processed oil. So they tend to stretch longer, right? And also when I was reading upon the different kind of oils, I discovered that the hydrogenated oils now, it's prepared for shelf life. In other words, they put a lot of stuff in it to keep it on the shelf.
Preserve it.
Right.
Okay.
And then those that come in boxes and slabs that they use in the fast food places and so on. This is a very terrible kind of fat. And most people just craving for that kind of fat.
Because it probably makes the food taste better.
That's the problem.
It's more cheaper for the restaurants to purchase.
Yeah, but more expensive for health-wise.
Health-wise. But yes, but you know, they want to cook the food that tastes good.
Yeah, I guess people who manufacture food, they're looking to sell and they need to get sales. So what people want is what they sell. Even though it's unhealthy, it's money.
Right.
The bottom line is money. Even the manufacturers of this stuff, they tell the point, the bottom line is money. If things not turn over fast, then they're going to go to business. So they have to do what people crave. And what is happening is that our appetites have become perverted to the point where we don't have an appreciation for the healthy stuff anymore.
Yeah, because we're craving what tastes good.
Right.
And what normally tastes good is not what is normally healthy.
Right.
Right. So now sometimes, because I had an experience with my children when I was teaching grade 4, where with the school meals, they would give out all natural fruit juice. And you could tell the difference in how those tasted. They tasted good, but it wasn't like the box juice and and the children, some of them, they didn't want it. You know, because they were so accustomed, their appetite was so accustomed to the other types of box juice. They didn't want the 100% all natural fruit juice. So sometimes our cravings and our appetites for the foods that are not healthy, that taste good.
Yeah. So what we have to train folks from the home has to play a role in it. And I know people are going to always try to come with the excuse that things are tight, things are bad. But the truth of the matter is, people need to have a balance in terms of sit and plan properly. I think the problem is sitting and planning. We have a lot of traditions where things are passed down and everybody's craving. I think it was yesterday somebody saying that almost every street corner in St. John's on the weekend now is a place selling food. And some of these places are open up to midnight, early morning.
Of course.
Even some of these places like shawarma and so on. I've seen this place, like this place in Orsons, and you go there and then going to Matthews Road there, the next one there. Every day there's a shawarma shop. It's a crowd. It's a crowd, you know. I see you smile like you're freaking the shawarma shop. But then I mean, it's what people crave for.
Right.
And then these folks, people want these things, so they're going to put it there. And it sells fast, money turn over fast. If money's turn over fast, what they say?
And then if persons are eating these things at these hours, because remember the digestive system needs a break after a certain time. A lot of people don't know that. But then when you are eating those high-fat foods so late, tell us what happens. The body doesn't process it properly, or it just sits there.
Well, the body needs 4 to 5 hours to process food. So if you're eating late, like after 9, you got to tell yourself that about 1 o'clock is the time when you need to go to sleep. The rule is your last meal should be 5 hours before you go to sleep. And that's a challenge to most people. Because even when I met somebody who told me, Pastor, I got to eat. When I finish it, I go to sleep.
Tired.
And I'm saying to the person, look, you're going to have some nightmares because you have some weird dreams and all kind of stuff because what? Your stomach is still working. your brain is still working because the brains have a send a message to them, okay,
Yes.
you need to keep on working because the stomach is too full.
Ah, so Pastor, that is why. Okay. And yeah, I'm guilty. I was guilty of it, especially when I was studying. Go to sleep late, you eat what the body is craving, and go to sleep late, get minimal hours of sleep, and you wake up hungry and tired. So I guess we're tired because the brain was working graveyard
All
shift
night.
all night,
All night.
and still hungry because the body has not digested the food. Okay.
So the hunger,
So-
the hunger prong is because the stomach was overworked, it's tired, then you get up now, and you get up in a lethargic state now where you have to go on the job, you have to get up, but your body says, look, I'm not quite ready yet because what? It didn't get the rest, but because you have to get up, the alarm clock wake you up, you get up and you're struggling, and you feel this craving because what? The craving comes from the fact the stomach is exhausted. It's not so much hunger, you're hungry, it's just exhaustion with the stomach now. So it gives off the condition like if well, you're hungry. But what is happening, the stomach is tired because you didn't get to rest. And you keep doing that every day, 7 days a week, your stomach is going to crash one day.
And then you said we're not really hungry, but then we feel hungry. So now in the morning now, we're going to feel hungry, then we're going to eat,
Right.
and then the stomach is already tired from the last night. And so now we're going to put some more work on it to eat again.
What
So
you
the
feeling
cycle- so the
in that
cycle-
hunger prong. What you're feeling, which is mimicking hunger prong, is not so much hunger, is that the body is now giving off a signal that you're hungry, but not you're hungry.
Right.
It's tired.
But we are gonna
Right.
feel hungry. So our next reaction would be to eat
Eat again.
and pack work on the body.
Right.
That's
And maybe by the time now the stomach is just
Tired.
about empty. And then it didn't get any time to rest. So now you're packing it now. So the stomach is not only some, but the heart is also working because the heart has to pump blood. And by the way, when the stomach is full, the rest of your body is devoid of adequate blood because all the blood, most of the blood,
attention to the stomach.
right, aid in digestion.
Right.
Right. That's why sometimes
Okay.
if you sit after a while when you finish eating, you're going to feel sleepy, drowsy. They call it niggeritis. And so the best thing to do to aid in digestion is when you finish eat, to get up and have a nice walk, a casual walk, not a brisk walk, just a casual walk. That casual walk helps to help digest it, aid in
And
digestion.
help with the circulation of the blood now
Right.
to go to some of the other
Right.
cells, the
So
other body
areas where the
organs.
blood wasn't now,
Right.
it helps to, and as fast as the body's digesting the food now, the blood is going back to all the parts of the body. So you feel better now, your head feel better, you feel well alert now, you can move. And some people, within 10-15 minutes of feeling drowsy, after they get about a 10-minute nap, for some reason, they're able to get up and move again.
Yeah, a power nap.
Right, the power nap.
And
Right?
so you're saying the brain also is focused on digestion at that time
Right.
a lot. So Pastor, you see why we have to say we're fearfully and wonderfully made,
Right.
because the body is a whole network. Something major is happening in the stomach, digestion. So everybody now, all the team players now are focused on helping the stomach.
Right.
So we see why we're fearfully and
Right.
wonderfully made.
So what is happening is that the body works to take care of itself. That's why the body can heal itself. The body doesn't need help from outside to heal itself. If you give the body the right stuff, water, the right nutrition,
Rest.
the body can take care of itself. And what is happening to us today, we have grown so accustomed over the years to put so much things in the body now that the body is being trained now to accommodate stuff that it doesn't need.
So, for example, somebody would ask, how can I have a liver cleanse? And you can say, we can have a liver cleanse by just basically our diet. We can cleanse our liver by having maybe a week or even a day. If you change your diet for a day, I've done that. You see a difference because it's basically you're putting this in your body. What we put in is what we get out, right? If you change your diet for a week, you would see a difference.
Yeah, it's not just change the diet, though. You have to be careful in just the diet
And
change.
not crash dieting, I mean.
Because
just-
if you're going to do a liver cleanse now,
Right.
if your liver is having some issues, now you have to take what I call bitters. right? Things that taste bitter in the mouth, right? And the Bible talks about that. What
Okay.
is bitter in the mouth is good for the stomach.
Yes. Okay.
So you have to cleanse yourself by drinking some dandelion tea or milk tea,
Do a
right?
lot of spinaching and
Right.
those things like that.
Those things there helps to clean you out slowly but surely on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to have issues and the doctor diagnose that you're having a liver issue now, you have to start to think about, look, let me start use some of these things, because even though you're going to change your diet, your system is such now that you have to do some cleansing first before the diet can actually work.
Yes.
That's why sometimes a naturopath now, a doctor who does natural work now, you find that whatever he gives you now, he gives you a combination of stuff that helps to clean you out first, and then to build you up and then to heal you. That's why you find a lot of folks now, they are skeptical of going to a naturalist, because what? The product he sells work, but they're going to work slower than what you get from the other side.
Okay.
Right, which means therefore that is a combination of factor. And one of the major components of you getting better is the willingness to change your lifestyle. Change what your customer are doing. And I think most people I've spoken to will say, look, yes, you're right there, but the willpower is not there.
Or the patience. I think sometimes
No,
we
it's the
start.
willpower.
We start with, and some of us with the willpower. You start off you're energized. You want to do this.
Oh, you start
And
off too
then-
fast.
And then, a couple of days into it, it's just like, I'm not seeing the results. As you said, with the natural, you might
Right.
be able to see the results. And then slowly but surely you start to sneak back into the old way. So it's willpower plus the patience that we
Right.
need to actually.
And then it's not a matter of you getting better overnight.
Consistency.
Is consistent. And also I have to remind myself of the same thing, because when I feel in certain situations now, I have to tell myself, okay, you're not going to get over this in a hurry, so be patient with whatever. You teach people these things, so you have to do it yourself. Right, and to recognize that in my own experience, sometimes I'm changing my diet. I'm looking for quick result, but I have to keep remind myself, look, hey, there's no quick result here.
And you have to, so that's discipline.
Discipline.
And also I can urge persons, sometimes don't go it alone. Have somebody else with you to co-partner with you with the dieting, for motivation, encouragement, to pull you up, or you pull the person up when they're lapsing.
Right.
So sometimes it's good when you can do this as a team effort.
Right.
Yes, to help you to be consistent and disciplined. So, Pastor, we looked at physical, keeping active, and we looked at some creative ways.
Right.
Now, tell us about this in terms of the whole wheat. And okay, so like for example, we like a lot of bread and white rice.
Right.
And some people, I have had this conversation, Pastor. I don't like the white bread. I don't like the wheat bread. I prefer white bread. Why I don't like the wheat bread? I just don't like it. I mean, I think maybe it's because we're cultured with the white bread.
Yeah, we're cultured.
And the wheat bread looks different, so we just don't like it. Because, in fact, not because I like it, but, it tastes, it's doable. Wheat bread, wheat crackers. So tell us, what is just a quick moment, the difference between the white and the wheat? Or where we have multigrain now.
Well, the white bread basically is what you call washout flour. They have taken all the natural stuff out of it, and they bleach it first. They bleach the grain, and then it becomes white, and then they now crush that now into what I call white flour. All right. Now, the strange thing about life is that some of the whole wheat that we're getting now is not really whole wheat. Let me explain, because we did a study some years ago where we discovered that the best grains for making bread is now used to make feed for animals. Yeah. So that
Okay.
they're trying to make the animal as best they can so it's eatable. Because those who are in the animal industry or the what do you
Food
tell me?
manufacturer.
Right. they now want to make profit from what they're doing. And so, because of lack of rain in some countries, lack of food, lack of vegetation,
Yes.
you find that there's some animals, the cow, the pig, the goat, the sheep, what they use for animal now, they're lean, they don't have much fat, they look very, like a skeleton bone showing. And so, in an effort now to say the meat is superior now, you push the best grain to make feed. So that, and then inside these feeds now are contain a lot of hormone products and other stuff. Because what happens when you have an animal that is looking round and fat, what has actually happened is that there are things in the feed to cause the animal to get fat. Also, it renders the thyroid in the animal inactive.
Okay.
Right? So when the thyroid is inactive now, you find that the animal cannot burn up the fat. It remains fat. Same thing happens in human beings. When a person has a problem with the thyroid now, especially on the active now, you find that the person's body cannot burn up all this stuff. So they stop the accumulate the fat, and then they notice that the thyroid problem continues. It same with the animal. And so when you eat that animal now, whatever the animal does, you actually going to do the same thing too. It happens to your same body, right? And so the white flour basically has not nutritional value.
Okay.
The grain now has fiber, also has niacin and calcium and those things to help enrich the body. And also, because it has fiber now, it's able now to not only go to the system, but when it passes to the digestive
It's
tract
like a
now,
broom.
it is
brushes
sweeping
out.
out as it go.
Yes.
The white flour now, it sticks to the small walls of the small intestine.
Yes.
And then after a while, if you don't consume enough water
And fiber and those
and
things.
fiber, you find that those things sticks there, and you literally could become constipated. A lot of people are constipated because they eat white bread, right?
And of course, not enough
Right,
fiber, not enough
right.
water.
And then sometimes we take Felicium and other fiber products, but we have to understand that when we take these now, you have to consume a lot of water. Let me say a lot of water. So if you used to drink a half gallon, now you have to drink a gallon plus, because the same stuff that they use to help push out things now, if you're not having enough water in the system, it could actually go to clog up the system instead of releasing it. So it's a combination of stuff. And also tell me as far as going, we have about a couple of minutes. Now, we talk about the bad fats.
Yes.
So what are the good fats? You have the nuts and seeds. You can eat several servings of nuts and seeds daily. Right? And you have the almond, walnut, and you have hazelnut, cashew, pecans, peanut, sunflower nuts, pumpkin seed, all right, sesame seed.
Good fats come
Right.
also from other vegetables. It's pear season. Avocado pears are in.
Right,
We get the good fats from avocados
Right,
and things like that.
But also, I must not forget that not everybody can accommodate nuts.
Right.
There's some folks who
Allergens.
cannot eat peanut.
And allergens to the
Right.
nuts, yes.
So you got to know which are the nuts that you can consume. I don't want people to go and just buy any nut and eat, because you need to go to a doctor and do an allergy test to make sure that there's certain nuts. I did one several years ago, and I told him must eat peanuts.
Okay.
Even sometimes I sneak and eat peanut, and then it gives me headache.
So that
because
means no peanut butter,
right,
no peanut oil.
no peanut butter, no peanut oil.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So, but you can use cashew, almond, Brazil nuts, hazelnut, pecans, and those kind of stuff. It's healthy nuts, it is healthy fat, but also you must eat it in moderation. Now, even though it's healthy fat, you don't want to overdo it.
Balance is about
Right,
balance.
you have to balance it.
Yes.
Because sometimes the fat content for some people, some folks might be able to digest the fat easier than others. So you have to know what your body can do and what the body can accommodate. And also, your aim must be to eat a diet high in fiber, low in fat. Right? A diet high in fiber, low in fat.
Okay.
Right? That's the aim. Also, you must also make sure you consume a good portion of fruits, and vegetables daily, all right, these help to move things along. Sometimes you need to just maybe eat a slice of bread, if you have to eat bread, and just use vegetables, nuts, and grain to make up.
With it, yes.
Because some days when I'm not even sure what I want to eat, I just get some nuts, some cashew, almond, pecan, and just put some raisins or some cranberry with it, and just walk with it and water. And that's a meal. That's a meal there. And so we want people to recognize that when you use a whole grain, it helps to keep the heart going right. Now, for those folks who have a heart issue, one of the best way to deal with that is to use the real oats.
Okay.
The oats, the old-fashioned oats. Oats that takes about 10 minutes to cook.
Yeah, because they have the quick and
Right.
they have the old-fashioned. Those
And you have
grains are a
those that
bit
make
bigger.
up porridge.
Right.
Right. Those old-fashioned oats, that's the oats that you use for helping you, especially in a heart problem. It helps to
Keep the cholesterol
Right.
down. I know that
Right.
one. Right.
And
And
keep
I
those.
think it also helps with your kidneys, because sometimes we find when you use a lot of oats, you urinate a bit more. So I think those help with the kidneys, because I guess the cholesterol level is down.
I gotta check it out. I'm not sure if that happens to him, but I use a lot of oats product. I use oats in just about everything.
And there's the oat flour. So if you want to, if there's an alternative from the white flour, the oat flour, and that's also very economical. It's affordable. Yes.
And if you cannot get the oats flour, you have a blender at home. Just put the whole the oats in it, blender, and it just blends itself into a nice flour. So you have an alternative. So there's not a case where you cannot get these things. Now, Sister, our time is fast spent.
Yes.
It's now
We had a bit of a
7:02.
late start.
Right.
So.
And so we're just going to wrap up now, and just give the folks some final words from your standpoint in terms of your understanding of the physicalness and the types of food that we need to eat to keep us going.
Well, as I was preparing for this week, for today, I came across a quote from Abraham Lincoln that says, "The help you enjoy is largely your choice." So I just want to urge and encourage persons to, although you may not be able to make your choices in terms of maybe the things you can afford, remember that your health is your choice, and to just be creative and resourceful in what you have available to you. And don't go it alone. Go in with a positive attitude and get someone with you to keep you motivated and disciplined.
Right.
And as we say, with God, all things are possible, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, which includes having a good, healthy lifestyle.
And being patient as well.
And be patient.
I think that's a challenge for most people. They want a quick fix.
And the word also says in moderation. Be
Right.
moderate in all things.
Right, and you must prepare yourself that based on your body's situation, a quick fix is not always the best option,
Right.
because the body takes time to deteriorate. It's going to take time to rebuild.
Yes, and sometimes it's quicker to deteriorate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a longer time to
And
do the
then-
damage control.
And then, of course, there's a word we call healing crisis. We're going to talk about that sometime again, where the body goes through a process of healing.
Right.
And sometimes when you have symptoms to indicate there's a problem, sometimes the same symptoms goes in reverse order while the body is healing itself. And sometimes when the body is healing itself, now we kind of get the impression that we're getting worse. We're not getting worse, we're getting better. Because some of the healing is come from deep tissues come out. And when it's coming from the deep tissues now, you're going to feel nauseated, you're going to have headache, you're going to have backache, you can have a lot of uncomfortableness. Why? Body is cleaning itself.
Okay.
Right? And one of the most popular things that happen to people which we try to suppress it is when somebody has a fever. No, you don't suppress the fever, you control it.
Let it go its course. Yes. Because
Okay, even though you're going to let it, I won't say let it go its
But-
course, you control it. In other words, don't let it get above the temperature. Don't bring it below the normal. If it's 97% or 97, what they call it,
bring it back to that level.
right. So it's above that. Bring it back down. Because what is happening, the body is indicating that it is fighting something. And because it's fighting something now, the body gets hot. And so that's what is happening. It's a messenger to say to you, okay, your body was fighting. It is now getting rid of what was in you. So do not suppress it. control it. In other words, then you have a burst pipe. Yes, the aim is to stop the pipe from leaking, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you do it in such a way that you don't create more problems than yourself.
Okay.
Right? And
Good stuff.
so we just want to urge our folks to pay attention to our program on Sunday evenings. We're here to help you. And if you follow these guidelines, you would avoid having to take a lot of medication, right? So make sure you drink a lot of water, consume whole grain, a diet high in fiber, low in fat, and you'll be healthy because of this. So we want to thank you for being here again. Sorry again for the late start, but we trust and pray that you have been blessed by the shortened version. And we do want to invite you to join us again next week as we come back and we continue to talk about developing a healthy lifestyle. Because as you develop a healthy lifestyle, you're going to see that your body will get healthy if you're patient and you have the willpower. Soon and very soon, you will be successful in your quest to be healthy. So once again, thank you for joining this afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Gardner, with my co-host, Sister Hughes, saying goodbye, so long. Have a safe and healthy week, and God richly bless you.
Thank you for listening to Your Health and You. I do hope that this health session was meaningful and informative. Remember, the Lord's desire is for you to be healthy and prosperous. Be blessed.